They say school is a place to learn, to grow, to make friends. But for Aryan, school was a battlefield, and not because of exams. If you're watching this, you're about to witness a story that'll shake you, make you angry, and hopefully, make you believe in the power of standing up for yourself. Because what happened to Aryan wasn't fair, but what he did next. No one saw it coming. So watch till the end, because you won't want to miss how this quiet boy silenced the bullies who thought he'd stay down forever. And don't forget to like and subscribe, because this story, this fight, is just getting started. Aryan Mehra was 15 years old when life decided to test him in the harshest way. He was quiet, thin, always lost in books or drawing in the last pages of his notebook. He wasn't the kind to shout in class or crack loud jokes. In fact, most of the class forgot he was even there. But there were 3 people who never forgot him. 3 people who made it their daily mission to remind him he was different. Vikram, Arjun, and Samir, seniors by a year but bullies by nature. They didn't just tease him, they hunted him. It started small. A shove in the corridor. A slap to the back of the head when teachers weren't looking. His lunch tossed in the bin. His sketchbook stolen and passed around, with crude jokes written over his drawings. And Aryan, he stayed silent, every single time, because that's what his father had taught him. Be strong, Aryan, walk away, don't let anger rule you. But that advice came from a different world. His father, Major Vikrant Mehra, had served in the army for 20 years before settling into a quiet desk job. Aryan worshipped him, but what Aryan hadn't told him, what he couldn't bring himself to say, was that walking away didn't always work. Sometimes, it only gave the bullies more power. One day, a Monday like any other, Aryan walked into school with a small smile. He had drawn a beautiful piece over the weekend, an image of a soldier rising from fire, fists clenched, face fierce. He felt proud. Maybe, he thought, maybe today would be different. But the second he stepped into his classroom, he felt the shift in the air. His bench was missing. His books were scattered across the floor. And in the center, taped to the blackboard, was his sketch, defaced. The soldier's face had been scribbled on. Coward, written in red. Everyone was laughing. And the 3 devils, Vikram, Arjun, and Samir, stood watching, arms crossed, victorious. Aryan felt the sting in his chest, but he didn't cry. Not there. Not in front of them. He bent down, collected his books, and tried to sit quietly in the back. But Vikram wasn't done. Hey, hero artist, why so serious? He mocked, walking over and yanking Aryan by the collar. You think you're strong now? You drawing soldiers. You can't even defend your own bag, loser. Aryan didn't respond. He simply looked away. Wrong move. Vikram's eyes darkened. He hated being ignored. You think you're better than us? He growled. Let's show you how real strength looks. And that's when it happened. During lunch, as Aryan made his way up the old staircase near the auditorium, his secret sketching spot, they followed him silently. He didn't hear them until it was too late. A hard shove from behind. A sudden slip. His hands tried to grab the railing, but it was too fast. His world spun. The stairs blurred. His head hit the edge. And then, darkness. He woke up to the sound of whispers. Blurry lights. The sharp scent of antiseptic. The hospital ceiling stared back at him, lifeless and cold. His mother was crying. His father stood still, fists clenched. And the doctor was explaining something in hushed tones. Minor concussion. Hairline fracture in the arm. Several bruises. He's lucky. Aryan lay there, staring at the ceiling, and something shifted inside him. Not anger. Not pain. Something colder. Sharper. Like steel being forged in fire. He didn't tell the doctors what happened. He didn't even tell his parents. When the school called it a slip, he let them. When the bullies smirked at him in the hallway weeks later, he just looked back, silent. But something had changed. Because while his body was healing, his spirit was training. You see, what no one knew, what not even Aryan had taken seriously before, was that his father had once taught him Krav Maga, the Israeli self-defense technique. It started as fun bonding, something to keep him active. But now, it was survival. Every evening after school, Aryan trained. No excuses. No breaks. He trained harder than ever before, punches, blocks, escapes. His father noticed the fire in his eyes, the tension in his jaw. "You okay, son?" he asked once. Aryan just nodded. "I'm fine, Dad. I just want to be stronger." Major Mara saw something in his son then. Something familiar. A soldier's heart. Weeks passed. The bruises faded. Aryan stopped sitting in the back. He stopped avoiding eye contact. He moved through school with quiet confidence. The bullies noticed, but misread it. They thought he was broken, humiliated. But Aryan, he was just waiting. And then, the day came. Sports day. The school grounds buzzed with excitement. Races, tug-of-war, volleyball, and for the first time, an open martial arts demo for students to volunteer in. Aryan signed up. Silently. No one paid attention. Until his name was called. And he stepped into the circle. In front of the whole school. The PE coach raised an eyebrow. "Aryan, you sure?" Aryan nodded. "Yes, sir. I'm ready." And when the coach called for a volunteer to spar with him, guess who stepped up? Vikram. Grinning. "I'll take it easy on you," he smirked. The coach blew the whistle. What happened next stunned everyone. Vikram lunged. Fast. Aggressive. But Aryan, calm, focused, sidestepped, twisted, and locked Vikram's arm in a clean move that sent him crashing to the ground. Gasps echoed. Vikram jumped up, furious, and charged again. This time, Aryan blocked, ducked, and delivered a controlled strike that knocked the breath out of him. The coach stepped in. "That's enough." But the crowd wasn't done cheering. And neither was Aryan. He helped Vikram up, looked him in the eyes, and said, quietly, "Strength isn't about shouting or shoving. Real strength is knowing when to fight back." The bullies never touched him again. In fact, a few weeks later, Aryan found a note in his locker. No name. Just 4 words. "I'm sorry, V." Aryan smiled. Because that fall, that pain, it had woken something in him. Not revenge, not hatred, but courage. The kind that comes not from fists, but from fire inside. And to everyone watching this, if someone pushes you down, remember, you don't have to stay there. You can rise, train, grow. And when the time is right, you'll know how to stand tall, not for revenge, but for yourself. If this story moved you, if Aryan's journey made you feel something, hit that like button, share it with someone who needs courage today, and subscribe to the channel. Because you've heard how Aryan fell. You've seen how he rose. But this is where his real story begins. Because the truth is, winning one battle doesn't end the war. And Aryan was about to face a challenge far greater than a bully in a schoolyard. So if chapter 1 gave you chills, stay right here, because what happens next will touch your heart and light a fire in your soul. Watch till the very end, and if you haven't yet, like this video and subscribe to the channel. Because heroes aren't born, they're forged, in silence, in pain, and in purpose. Weeks had passed since the sports day that changed everything. Aryan was no longer invisible. Students who never noticed him before nodded in hallways. Teachers asked for his opinion. And the ones who once mocked him, like Vikram, Arjun, and Samir, now avoided his gaze or offered quiet greetings. Aryan wasn't feared. He was respected. And more importantly, he had begun to respect himself. But the fire that woke inside him on the day he hit the stairs had not gone out. It burned brighter. Not with anger, but with a sense of duty. A quiet realization. If I can stand up for myself, maybe I can stand up for others too. That's when he noticed her. Ria. She was new. A transfer student from another city. She sat in the same last bench Aryan once did, sketching in silence, her long hair falling like a curtain that shielded her from the world. Aryan knew that look. The loneliness. The walls built high to protect a soft heart. Rumors had already started. She was weird, quiet, too shy. Some boys had begun teasing her during breaks. Nothing direct yet, but Aryan saw it. The way they knocked her books, by accident. The way they laughed just loud enough for her to hear. And the way she flinched, but said nothing. Aryan remembered that feeling too well. So one day, during lunch, when her books were kicked across the corridor, Aryan picked them up. Quietly. No drama. Just a kind smile and a, "Here, you drop these." Ria looked at him, surprised, unsure. But something passed between them in that moment. A silent recognition. From then on, they started talking. Not much at first. A few words about art, about books, about how people didn't really see them. But slowly, a friendship bloomed. They'd sit on the school terrace and draw side by side. He told her about Krav Maga. She told him about her old school, how she was bullied there too, how it made her afraid to trust anyone again. Aryan listened. He understood. And he said something that stayed with her. Sometimes the world tries to break the quiet ones. But the quiet ones, we break the world when we rise. But peace doesn't last long in a place where power is misused. A senior named Dev had started watching Riya too. Unlike Vikram, Dev was more dangerous. He wasn't loud. He was charming, manipulative. The kind who smiled at teachers and whispered filth behind their backs. He began leaving notes in Riya's locker. Creepy ones. Started following her after school. Aryan noticed it all. One day, Riya didn't show up. Aryan waited. Called. No reply. When she returned 2 days later, she looked pale. Her wrist had a bruise. She said she'd fallen at home. But Aryan knew. He saw the fear in her eyes. And it shattered something inside him. He didn't want revenge. He wanted to protect. So he did something unexpected. He went to the principal. But as expected, it backfired. Do you have proof, Aryan? I know it was Dev. That's a serious accusation. And it's true. Without evidence, we cannot act. Please don't bring baseless claims. Baseless. That word hit harder than any punch. Aryan walked out, heart pounding. Rage wasn't the answer. Action was. He needed proof. And Riya's safety couldn't wait. So he followed Dev. For days. He watched. Took notes. Recorded videos from a distance. Until he caught it, a clip of Dev cornering another junior girl behind the auditorium, speaking in a tone no student ever should. Aryan recorded it all.